everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Alina Luna and I just moved from New York City to Los Angeles. In this video, I want to share my experience with you as I'm hoping that some of it could be helpful. For me, it wasn't a straight shot from New York City to Los Angeles. It was actually more of a cross-country trip. I was on the road with my boyfriend, who was also moving his stuff from New York City to St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri was actually our first stop as he started medical school there. So we had to move a lot of his stuff first. We Googled a lot of moving companies or truck rental companies. We ended up going with U-Haul truck rental as it's well-known and well-trusted company. We were pretty close to getting scammed, so I really advise you to double check everything and make sure that the company or the services that they offer aren't a scam, since those companies actually are trying to scam you on multiple $1,000s, as we all know that moving can be really expensive, and it usually always is pretty expensive, especially if you have a lot of stuff. So yeah, please be aware of scammers, and this is not sponsored by anything that we ended up choosing U-Haul. I compared prices of U-Haul, Penske, Budget. I think those are pretty much the most popular truck rental companies. I looked up some moving companies, but their services ended up of like a final cost ended up being $1,000, $2,000 normally more expensive. So you can go with that if you prefer to just hire people and have them do everything for you, which would include to pack your things, to load it in a truck, to drive it over there, to unload it, maybe to unpack it as well. Or the other option, probably the cheapest, is to do everything yourself. Our option was more of a DIY move, since we drove a truck from New York City to St. Louis, but also at the same time we hired movers to help load and unload boxes. And we were satisfied with that. That worked out pretty well for us. So we got all the boxes initially from Home Depot, then we packed everything ourselves. When we got to St. Louis, we unpacked everything ourselves as well. So the final cost ended up being, I'd say like $2,000-3,000 roughly. You also need to pay for the gas though, and as we all know, the gas is pretty pricey right now. And we also stayed at Airbnb, since the drive itself from New York City to St. Louis is about 16 hours, and we didn't want to have that pressure of driving the entire way 16 hours straight. So we ended up staying at Airbnb in Pennsylvania, which was actually really nice, and we drove about 6-7 hours the first day, and then the next day we drove for about 9-10 hours. When we got to St. Louis, we actually had the plane tickets booked from St. Louis, Missouri to Los Angeles, California. I personally don't have as much stuff, and I don't have any furniture at all, and I also left a lot of stuff at my boyfriend's apartment. The plane, actually, it can get really expensive if you have more than like 2-3 bags. Honestly, like 4, it can get really expensive. My flight was with the American Airlines, and I looked up on the website and I bought the ticket that included the first checked-in bag and the carry-on and a personal private item, such as it's usually a laptop, like a laptop backpack, something like that. So for me, the second checked-in bag was extra. It was $40. At first, I was thinking about like bringing a lot more bags. I kind of needed them, but they charge $30 for the first checked-in bag if it's not included in your ticket. Then they charge $40 for the second checked-in bag, then $150 for the third one, and fourth and more. Each bag after that is $200, which if you bring in so many bags, it might end up being very expensive. I guess for considering that I was literally just doing the whole move, I wasn't just traveling back and forth, I was doing the whole move. It ended up being pretty cheap. I also travel with my cat. I have to pay an extra for her on any flight, doesn't matter what airline. They charge usually $125 pet fee, and she has to be in a airline's approved carrier that has to fit under the seat in front of you. So at first I had booked 2 tickets for me and my boyfriend in an exit row, and we actually paid extra to be able to choose our tickets and select nice seats. But when I got to the airport, they actually told me that I can't sit with my pet in an exit row, so they had to switch my seat. We got, if you can say, lucky though, that even though the airplane was packed, I still got a window seat, a pretty nice seat, and my boyfriend was able to switch with a person who was supposedly right next to me. So we ended up flying together, luckily, and that went well. Though the other thing is that when we actually got first to the airport in St. Louis, I got a notification that my flight was delayed for about half an hour. Then when we got to the airport, they told us that it's gonna be delayed for like an hour, and then they kept pushing it. And our flight was evening flight. It was like originally 6:50 p.m. flight, and around 9 p.m. they actually told us that they don't have crew and they just are canceling or sort of like rescheduling our flight for the next day, 8 a.m. So we had to actually take the cab back to his apartment that night, and we had to wake up super early in the morning the next day to catch our flight. The total for me, my cost of moving my stuff from St. Louis to LA was maybe about like $500, which is super cheap if you actually like doing that whole move thing. And I'd say I still though have a lot of my stuff at my boyfriend's apartment, especially my winter clothes and my outwear for colder weather. But we figure out that the cheapest option would be actually for him to ship my stuff to LA. I'd say overall moving is expensive. I think we did it in a pretty efficient way and the most, probably the best deal, the most cheapest way, but also the one that like saves us some time and hassle. And I think that's it for now. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment, ask me in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye.